crashing Willie's garage.
Ha!
Well, hello, Rhondas. Here it is on Willie's Garage. I'm Nick, a lifelong Alf fan, and that's George watching for the first time. We are at the penultimate episode of Season 1. And George, how are you holding up?
I'm the Sancho Panza to your Don Quixote. Are those? I never
Yep.
read Don Quixote, so I don't.
I've tried to read it about 3 times. I've gotten almost halfway through. It's dense.
It's a quixotic something. Your attempt.
Yes.
I wish I thought. Yeah.
Tilting at windmills. That's been my whole life. And another way I'm doing that is by trying to get Paul Fusco, the creator of Alf, or Alf, on this show. We have 1 week left for that to happen. So I'm still, fingers crossed. Paul, if you're watching, tell your buddy Alf to come on the show. Just make an appearance on Zoom, and be a great way to end the first season of Willie's Garage, don't you think?
Yeah, although I don't know what we'll have to do for season 2's capper.
Yeah. Then what do we do? Maybe we'll get some of Alf's Melmacian pals on.
Live tats.
Yeah. I was looking through season 2. There's so many great episodes on that, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I want to start off with Joe Blevins, who is a regular viewer of all the found footage VCR party content, including Willie's Garage. He did a remix for us last time we were on, about, I think, 3 weeks ago, called Alfverse in the UK, which remixed Willie singing Anarchy in the UK from a time he said, I love anarchy. Well, if you remember, a week before that, Alf rapped. He had a record player. He was doing a scratching. My name is Alf, and I'm here to say. Lynn joined in. Willie came in at the end and kind of ruined everything. And Joe Blevins, unsolicited, sent me this. It's called Getting Silly with Willie.
Hey, Willie, come here. Listen to this. Let me know when this gets irritating, okay? Well, my name is Alf, and I'm stuck on Earth. I can't get back to my place of birth. Making the best of a bad situation. Think of it as an extended vacation. Now, I didn't come here looking for trouble. I'm just here doing the alien shuffle.
Well, how do you do? My name is Lynn. I'm doing some rapping with an alien.
Yeah.
You're kind of short, a little bit furry. I'd rap some more, but I'm in a hurry.
Hey, look who's
See how
here.
he's changing the lyrics on the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
A hurry.
Hey, look who's here. His name is Willie. Come rap with us. Let's all get silly.
I'd love to, Alf, but gotta get ready. I just wanted to tell Lynn that her mother needed her.
Not just till the next episode. Next episode of Alf. Joe, bravo. And that just reinforced a lot of things, but also Willie was 43, who's 2 years younger than us, Joe. Willie Tanner was supposed to be 2 years younger than we are right now.
I don't even own a garage.
I don't own anything except for an Alf neon sign. That's the only thing I could put up for collateral in a loan at this point in my life. What an episode of Alf we are going to recap for you today. It's called La Cucaracha. It's wacky, it's fun, it's everything an Alf episode can be. Let's get into a Melmac recap.
Melmac recap. Melmac recap. Melmac.
This one aired on May 4th, 1987, and it's the first episode written by Jerry Stahl. Jerry Stahl wrote Permanent Midnight, a book about his drug addiction, and also happened to coincide with his time writing on Alf, and he also wrote for my other favorite show in the 80s, Moonlighting. It was Alf and Moonlighting were my 2 favorite shows, so he's good, I guess, or just got lucky. I guess before that he wrote for Hustler and Penthouse, and before he moved to Hollywood.
Got to work your way up.
Got to work your way up. And then he's written other books. One's called I, Fatty, about Fatty Arbuckle, and he's a really good writer. A lot of good writers were writing. Charlie Kaufman wrote on Golden Girls. I think TV isn't necessarily a writer's medium. That's the opposite of what people say. They say TV is a writer's medium, movies are a director's medium. But I feel like you're often in service of the juggernaut that was this family sitcom from 1986. You read any Jerry Stahl stuff, George?
No, I have seen the trailer to Permanent Midnight. Or actually, I think I happened upon it while changing channels once and had no idea what I was watching.
I'm going to read some Permanent Midnight. I have the book here, and during Alf Crap, I'll read a little excerpt from a thing he wrote about being a writer on Alf, and maybe I'll put up some footage over my dramatic reading of those few paragraphs from the movie, because they do a blue, very obvious Alf stand-in to avoid, I guess, copyright infringement.
Sure.
So in this episode, La Cucaracha, Alf is eating a Melmacian treat called slime balls. Pretty good prop design on them. They look like slime balls. And there's a surprise in the center of them. There's like a slug-flavored one. He's got a whole bag of them. They fall off. He mentions he got them from Ed's Bakery, so that even on Melmac they have something called Ed's Bakery. And a roach gets loose. A roach gets loosed, and Kate finds it. Let's take a look.
There is a space roach loose in our house.
I mean, just right there. There is a space roach loose in our house.
It's a writer's medium. So.
Who says they don't give Kate good lines?
There is a space roach loose in our house.
Well, maybe it went somewhere to die with dignity.
Another good line.
Willie! Yeah, all right, Alf. You can order the donuts.
I already did, but that's not why I said psst.
Oh, why did you say psst?
Just come out here.
What is all this secrecy about?
I didn't want to upset Kate.
Well, what is it that would upset Kate?
I believe a foot-long cockroach would upset Kate. Old Blue Eyes is back.
Alf mentions that cockroaches have blue eyes on Melmac, so that's what Old Blue Eyes is. And this is kind of like Jaws. You don't see it as often as you think. You just see parts of the giant creature in question.
Right. It's like the Kafka. It's like the Metamorphosis. That the it's never described in detail. It lets your own terrors fill the void.
I knew we'd get to Kafka eventually on the show, and here it is, episode 25. We did it. It is, yes. It's about the unseen terror. So Kate sprays it with some roach spray, and it doesn't work. It only gets bigger. So Kate and the kids are about to go to her mother's. We don't see the mother, but of course it's Ann Mira. And Willie says that he killed the roach using more of the spray. Says use a whole can on it. Brian reveals that he's named the roach Rodney. And they call the exterminator, where we find out that the spray only makes it bigger. And I didn't pull a clip with the exterminator in it, George, but I do have a picture of the guy. I think this guy was a pretty winning actor. He meets his match with this roach. Has now gotten huge.
Yeah, and I have some information on this actor. This is David Warhit, who looked familiar to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I can show you some pictures of
Oh, yeah,
other movies
let's take a
he's
look
been
at what else he's been in.
What I remember him from is the movie Christine. Small part on the far right. But he was also in Beverly Hills Cop on the right. And he for the last few decades, I guess he's been writing books about acting, and he teaches acting. And he has a website. I believe it's davidwarhit.com. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but you can go. Maybe there's an Alf special. And if you tell him you watched it on Willie's Garage.
Just tell him that and see if that... and see what his response is. That's great. I'm glad he's a working actor and teacher, and he was good in Alf. And I admire any of those sort of journeyman actors that are just kind of out there in the trenches doing parts on a million sitcoms, and he had movie parts. Those must have paid the bills for quite a long time. So good for him. So Alf at one point battles the roach, which has now gotten even bigger, in the bathroom, and this is about the most you see of the roach. And now listen to the music theme that comes up, because it's not the typical Alf music. The Shining.
Oh, you want to use the bathroom? Is that it? Hey, I know the feeling. doing? Look, you're angry at the world. I understand that. You probably didn't get enough love as a larva. But I've got an idea.
Like Miss Larva, the Brian's teacher?
It's all connected.
But I've got an idea. We could sit down, talk, have a nice cold glass of boric acid. You know, we could deal with it. What do you think about that? Ever
Cool
seen
point
one
of
of
view
these?
shot here.
Huh? Take
Yeah.
that.
It's like a horror movie.
I was only kidding. Joke. Yeah, you know what? I've got the number of a good psychiatrist friend of mine. He deals with psychopathic ants and roaches. Here, take this. Yeah, you'll smell good too.
So that theme, and then it kind of goes into the Alf theme at the end. But did you recognize that at all, or what it was trying to be like?
I did not.
So the reason I recognized it was because there's a Simpsons episode where they're having the water balloon fight. It's like a war with Herman in the first episode. Remember that one?
First season?
Bart the General. It's the first season, not the very first episode. And it had that sort of refrain in it.
Right.
But-
The key to Springfield is Main Street.
Yes, exactly.
You knew it. Stalin knew it. Alexander the Great knew it. Now you know.
Now you know, yes. So but what that was referencing is Patton, the movie Patton, which I hadn't seen before I saw that Simpsons episode. Certainly not before I saw this Alf episode. But that's what all those were referencing, and I think in the same way the Simpsons episode was doing, their play on like the war. This was sort of a two-hander of Willie and Alf trying to go to war with this cockroach. So I think they got sort of creative with the scoring, and it felt different. It felt like a fun touch, and there were a lot of fun touches, like the point of view with the tentacles coming across, and I think that's why I remember this episode.
It's I guess this was. At first, I thought it was the theme to Aliens.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I didn't. I just because that was out around what that would have been '86 that came out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
the second one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but so it was. I believe because I just listened to the Patton
Yeah.
theme again, and I think it was that. So, but I liked that. It was fun, and at the end, Kate's perfume ends up killing the roach, and here's sort of the denouement of that.
How did you kill it?
Cheap cologne.
That's perfume.
That prop has to exist somewhere. The giant roach legs.
And they're not. It's not in your. Not in your storage
no,
locker.
and in my memory, I remembered seeing the whole roach, but you never do. You just
Right.
see these little.
Bought that for Kate on her last birthday.
You had roach problems then too?
How did you know to use this?
Well, I analyzed the list of ingredients. And based on what I know about the physiology of Melmacian cockroaches,
Alf.
I lucked out.
Look at how it just says cola and potato chips.
Those were delicious. I remember those.
those brand.
Yeah.
And I love how in Repo Man the beer just says beer, and like I think it was making fun of this kind of thing where they couldn't use any brand names. So there's a couple things I noticed about this episode. There's Alf mentions that there's a Detroit on Melmac, and I just feel like Detroit is a comedy writer's favorite reference in the 80s. The Zucker brothers did it. I was like, it's terrible. It's worse than Detroit. It was or Nordberg stuck under the bus and it says Detroit on it. And he goes, no, it was just. I guess there was a lot of crime. It was just So, also. Alf mentions a creature called blood-sucking Jaffies. That was sort of their version of a roach on Melmac. And I was wondering if this was referencing Al Jaffe, the Mad Magazine artist.
That crossed my mind as well. I have to imagine that Paul Fusco was a Mad Magazine aficionado. We'll have to ask him when he appears on Willie's Garage.
Episode 26. Come on, Paul. Willie and Alf also have an emotional moment where they sort of hug, and I'll put that at the end of this episode. It's very, very sincere, very heartwarming. And the other thing I noticed is he brought in, there's like, the spaceship is like Fibber McGee's closet. There's just anything you need is in there. And so they have a Venus flytrap that's actually from Venus that he brings into the house as well. Did you notice anything else?
Well, I didn't notice, but the good people at who update IMDb pointed out that naming the cockroach Rodney is problematic. Maybe problematic's the wrong word, but he says that's Alf says Rodney is his brother's name, but in another episode he says his brother's name is Neil, and yet there's still another episode that says that Alf's father only had 2 sons. So which is it? Paul Fusco, get on the show, clear this up. There's the Alfverse is a Twitter.
That is an unforgivable goof. Unforgivable.
Right. We have to have a reboot just to clear that up.
Yeah, I know. And by the way, I want to mention that in this episode we've mentioned both Kafka and the word denouement. So it is a classy episode of Willie's Garage. But let's declass that with some Alf crap.
Ba-da-dum, da-dum, 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 Alf crap.
This episode was written by Jerry Stahl. We mentioned who wrote the book Permanent Midnight, which I've been rereading. I read it when it came out, but I just wanted to read you this paragraph, and I'll put up some stills from Permanent Midnight, the movie, with Ben Stiller using the knockoff Alf while I'm reading this. So here we go. Story time. I published a story once at 30 days off the spike. I guess he's heroin at that point. About doing dope in the studio where they shot Alf. Bringing so much shit into the soundstage toilet, I heard the furry little puppet hissing my name and scratching at the door. I imagined in my narco dementia that this 3-foot furry TV star, no more than a puppet with attitude, could see right through the bathroom walls. Alf was out there, eyeballing all the blood I'd spattered on the mirror, on my fingers, into tiny scarlet puddles at my feet. And he did not approve. So, it's a little bit from Permanent Midnight, a very dark book about drugs that it's... I gotta say, I'm not that interested in about movies about drugs or drug addicts. I have very little sympathy for it. But he's a good writer, and he wrote for Alf.
What do you think about a movie called Alf Spotting? About so I saw the Space Jam trailer, and they're using like all the Warner Brothers properties. They're throwing them together, whether that makes sense or not. So I'm thinking we get whoever owns the Permanent Midnight movie and whoever owns Alf, if they can get it so we have I don't know, the Nick Pruer edition, the Nick Pruer cut of it, where we have actual Alf and actual Ben Stiller wrestling.
It'll be 4 hours long. It's released the Nick Pruer cut of Space Jam: The Next Generation, or whatever that was called. I mean, if the Clockwork Orange droogies can be in it, why not Jerry Stahl and Alf? I think that's a fine idea. What do you have for Alf crap, George?
Well, I'm gonna play a cut of part of a song that I found. I don't think this has been released anywhere but YouTube. This is the Shumway Shuffle.
Okay.
By a group called the Wet Boys. This is just a portion of it.
Okay.
Alf, alien life form so fly he can make your head storm. Crash landed in the Tan's garage. Looks so strange as if a mirage showed up, started causing trouble. Too much for Willie's suburban bubble. Got the mama, the papa, the sister, and the bro, all trying to hide him from the po-po.
Alf is a meme, Alf is a dream. I'm on Alf's team, he is for me. Making people laugh for him is easy. Dropping wholesome content on the TV.
So I think that's great.
I like it. I liked it a lot. I like the name The Wet Boys is funny. It was a winning song. I'm for it. And that wasn't you. That was
that was that was some real stuff. And
That's
I look
great.
for the Shumway Shuffle on YouTube.
Well, I'll tell you why. It's you viewers at home get to enjoy George as a co-host, as an unwitting co-host, but you don't get to enjoy being friends with George in real life, because occasionally you'll just get texts at a random time of day that look like this. It's a text that just is a grave picture of a grave with the last name Shumway, and then another one that says R. Willie, and just greetings from Greenwood Cemetery. So what was the context here, George?
Well, just about every day for over a year, the only exercise I've gotten living in Brooklyn is going to Greenwood Cemetery. It's like 400 acres. There's almost nobody there.
It's lovely. It's not like a creepy cemetery. It's a nice one.
Right, but it also is a place where you can be 6 feet away from everybody, and you're 6 feet above many dead people. But it was disturbing to me that I could not escape Willie's garage, even in this necropolis.
Yeah, I like the fact that it's just in your brain now. It's like you see what you want to see. When you've got a hammer, the whole world looks like a nail. I don't know if I just like using that expression.
It applies.
So yeah, thank you. Keep those texts coming, and I don't know, maybe there's a Lynn, maybe there's some Tanners out there. Keep searching the cemetery for more.
Well, as we approach the end of this season 1 of Willie's Garage, season 1 of Alf. Oddly, they're coordinated that way.
Dovetailing nicely, yes.
Yeah. So I was looking at some Alf cakes, as I do, and I was comparing. There's 2 approaches to Alf. Whether you're going to have, I think this one is very well made. It's not like completely on model. The eyes aren't, but I think it works.
The fur is great. The fur
Yeah.
imagine how long they took to do each stroke of fur there.
Yes, and it disappears in a moment. It's like it takes years to build a building, but seconds.
A lot of fondant. I don't know how edible this one actually was. Might have been more of a showpiece, but
compare that to this, which is it's also pretty good, and it's just different.
It's charming.
A different approach. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was a kid, I'd love this.
It must have been fun to use the sculpture, like, you know what, maybe I'll get some fondant and try to make my own elf cake in this style. I made the one in the official elf cake pan. It turned out great.
Right.
This one, I think, would be a new challenge for me.
I have to clarify. I said if I was a kid, I'd love this. I mean to say if I was a kid who loved Alf or who it wasn't on my radar. I would have been confused if I saw this.
Well, you're an adult who loves Alf now. All right. The last thing I have is something that came up on, on eBay, Etsy. I have like alerts that come up. This completely stunned me. It's an Alf wallet. I had never seen this, but I like the color scheme, yellow with brown trim. It's Alf. It's an official Alien Productions. It only came out in Australia. But look at this. This is in pristine condition. I bid on it on eBay and I lost. It went up to like $50.
Ooh.
But another one came up and I won. I got it for a steal for $10. It's on its way from Australia right now. George, this will be my wallet for 2021. You heard it here.
Breaking Alf news on Willie's Garage. Now this is pre-cartoon, right? So that's like that's sort of the so that's Alf as like it's pre-cartoon Alf.
Right. It's the drawing of Alf that I guess they use. Look at the profile, and it's kind of a weird drawing, but I like it. I like it. It's fun. I believe the Alf cartoon would come out in summer of '87, I think. Okay. So, yeah, it probably came out around this time. But it's a great piece of Alf crap that I had never seen, and soon it will be mine.
Well, I'm just thrilled to see it in person. It's true. The Alf cartoon debuted on September 26, 1987. So.
Aha! Thank you for that fact checking, live fact checking. All right, do you have any more Alf crap?
I don't know if you've heard of a little thing called Alf tattoos.
I have.
If you got a case of the Wednesday blues, just check out these Alf tattoos. Yeah.
Short version that time. Short version. Yeah, because this is a long show.
Right. Sorry about that. This is I don't know if I've shown this before. I don't think I have. Although previously I remember saying, "Hey, look in the corner of this. There is that ear on the left is clearly a
gizmo or some kind of mogwai." Yeah.
But whether I did or not, the reason I included it, there's 2 reasons I included it. One is to compare it to. So this is very realistic as far as realistic.
Outstanding.
A puppet can be. But that compares to this other tattoo, which
Huh.
is very unusual.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Sort of looks like a baby bird eating a fetal cat. I don't know. It's disturbing.
Yeah. I like
but
it though.
On the right, what do you see on the right there?
It looks like Cousin Ed, right? Or is
I was going to say it's Teen Wolf. Is that Teen Wolf?
It could
A basketball
be.
game? And the thing about that is, this episode aired at 8 o'clock on a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
At 9 o'clock this same evening, Teen Wolf 1985 debuted on NBC. So it was on there. This person might have been affected by watching Alf and then Teen Wolf the same night, and then later got these tattoos. That's my
That would
theory.
make sense because all those were like Gremlins, Alf, and Teen Wolf were all in that like 84 to 87 range. So if that's when you grew up, that could definitely, that's a good theory.
Not sure what this is.
It's like a skull playing a guitar, a skeleton hand.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We'll have to have that guy on.
Let us know in the comments. Yeah, let's have that guy on too. All right. So next time, it looks like. So Alf was preempted last week, but we don't know why. They just went in reruns, probably just to catch up on making
2 weeks
episodes.
of reruns.
2 weeks of reruns. Yep. Next week, season 1 finale. Paul Fusco has 1 week to show up. Alf has 1 week to show up. Season 1 finale. This is the home stretch, and then we get the summer off. George, what do you think?
I'm going to be spending it watching Alf.
Yeah, me too, just for fun this time. Well, we're glad you've been on this journey with us so far, and we'll see you next week for a star-studded, I don't know why I say star-studded, but just action-packed, chock full of fun surprises. Season finale of Willie's Garage. We hope to see you then. Until then, bite wind.
Wind.
Crashing